Grab your ingredients and get your spirit fingers ready. This is our review of Distilled.
Distilled is a hand management set collection game about distilling different spirits, and I really enjoyed the theming and also learning a little bit more about the distilling processes.
I really love the theme, I like the gameplay, I like most everything about this game, but it does have some faults. We'll tell you all about it after this quick how to play.
Distilled takes place over 7 rounds, with each round having 5 phases.
The first phase is the market phase, where players will take turns acquiring cards, including ingredients, items, and upgrades.
The second phase is the Distill phase, where players press their luck and play their cards to make different spirits.
Phase 3 is the sell phase, where players will sell the spirits they just made or that they aged on the previous round to earn points and money.
Phase 4 is the age phase, where players will age their spirits to add flavors and prestige.
The last phase is the end of round, where players will clean up for the next round, including checking goals and moving the first player marker to the next player.
At the end of 7 rounds, players add up their points from their goals and their bottle collection and add it to their current point total. Player with the most points wins.
Before you go off making drinks, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button.
All your likes and subscribes really help distill our channel to perfection, so thank you.
This is a game I've been excited about for a long time. Ever since I saw the Kickstarter, we backed it pretty early on. I really wanted to try this game. And then we met Dave Beck at Origins last year. We didn't get a chance to play it then because all the demos were full. We didn't get the chance to play it at Gen Con because all the demos were full and we were busy. So we had to wait till we actually got the Kickstarter. And I'm glad that we finally got it because it was a lot of fun when we actually got to playing it.
So the theming and just being able to learn more about the distilling process, I thought was really interesting because some of the mechanics and pieces and the things we did was just like, oh, okay, this is modeled after something that you would normally do if you were going to distill. Like when you're distilling and then you take off the top and bottom, like that's a real thing when you're making moonshine or any type of liquor. I found that really fun, and then Kenny would drop these little nuggets in there of knowledge to like kind of that he read from the instruction guide, so I thought that was fun.
So even looking at our table right now, this isn't how you would set it up. This is just all the pieces that come with it. And you can see a lot comes with this game. It's a 5-player game, so you have 5 player boards. You have the main market board. You have the truck where you put your discard from the other market cards. Then you have your trays for your money. You have your tray for your cubes. You have the tray for the different spirits you got to make during the different games, depending on which spirits you're using. So there's just a lot that comes with this game. So when you look at it, you'd go, that's probably a difficult game. Although it's not that difficult. There's 7 rounds with 5 phases. One of the phases is just a cleanup phase, so there's 4 phases. And it's basically a drafting phase where you're paying for the market, so it's a market draft. And you're choosing one player buys something or gets something from the basic market, then the next player, then the next player, until everybody passes. And in the distillery phase, you add your cards, and then you make your drinks, then you sell your drinks, or you age them, you collect points or money, and then you repeat the process another 6 times. So there's not a whole lot to the game. It looks like there's a lot to it, and it feels like there's a lot to it, but it's really not that difficult.
Each player is also given a recipe board, and then the recipe that we're playing with that game, but then also a character that has some unique ability, some history, and then a special recipe that you could also work towards. The recipe is important because everyone starts off knowing how to make vodka and moonshine, but if you want to unlock anything else, you need to pay for it, except your special recipe. So I think that's kind of helpful because it's another way to earn points without putting resources elsewhere if you just want to try and distill as much as you can in the very beginning.
So during the market phase, there's a lot to choose from. And I really enjoy games when there's a lot of options to choose from. And even if someone takes one of the premium ingredients or premium items that you want, it's going to be replaced immediately with something else. And then you can choose from those. I mean, it's not serious player interaction, but you still have that, ooh, I hope I get it, I hope I get it, I hope I get it feeling while you're playing. And there are enough options that if someone does take it, you don't feel like, well, my whole strategy is screwed now, so I can't do anything. You're like, okay, well, I got to pivot. I'm going to go with that now. And then you move forward. So I like having a lot of options. That can lead to some analysis paralysis if they're not really paying attention on their off turn and they're not looking, what should I go after? And they wait till their turn. But if everyone's pretty cognizant of what they're doing and they're paying attention, the game will move pretty quickly, even though there's a lot to choose from.
Overall, I think the whole economy of this game has worked out pretty well, whether it's the points or the cost of things. I mean, just right off the bat, I kind of knew like, oh, okay, that looks really expensive. Let me just pay attention to it a little bit more. Maybe it's like a little bit more powerful. And then you'd read it and you'd be like, yeah, it is pretty powerful. Like Kenny was saying, I mean, no worries if everyone else saw that too and they steal it, because you know what? There's going to be other chances for you to get good cards to come in. And, for all you know, maybe no one's going after items right now. Maybe they're going after upgrades. Kind of looking what everyone else is doing. Are they going for certain spirits? Then maybe you can pivot and go for other ones, collect the rewards. And there's a lot going on and maybe a lot to pay attention to. So just got to keep your head on a swivel while you're like...
I actually think the economy of this game is one of the downsides of it. I do think that some of the prices are too high, especially on the bottles. The scoring on the bottles can be a huge way to score points at the end, but all of the bottles are so expensive and other things are more important. The upgrades give you better benefits. The barrels will give you the ability to make certain spirits that then will give you more points than just the bottles. So I think some of the bottles are too expensive for what they are. The bottles, if you see someone collecting a big bottle collection, you can kind of look at that going, ooh, they're gonna score big. I gotta try to keep up. But right now, everyone has like 2, maybe 3 bottles. So for the most part, no one's really going to score more than the 5 points for having one from different regions. So I'd say that the economy on some of the cards in the market is a little bit too pricey.
So everyone gets a player board that's supposed to represent your distillery where you can put your cards and everything. And I really like how there's certain spots for you to upgrade. Now there's 3, and you can have equipment upgrades or you can have specialist upgrades. And I always keep my eye on those because they kind of add like that perpetual like ability or unique action that you can do. So I always like to try and grab the good ones early on, or even the ones that maybe not that good, but at least it gives me something extra in the beginning. So I always kept my eye on those. And then once they just weren't that helpful, you can switch them out for something else. So I really like when games do that, to just let you like, you're not just maxed out and that's where you stop.
The other major mechanic in this game is the distilling process. So in phase 2, when you're actually distilling your spirits, you collect the cards and you have to have a yeast, you have to have a water, and you have to have some kind of a sugar, whether it's grain, whether it's plant, or whether it's fruit-based. You can throw in more cards if you want. Why that's important is because what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn it over and you're gonna shuffle them so that you don't know what they are. You take 1 card off the top and 1 card off the bottom. That's part of the theming of the game, is the distilling process. The top part's too strong and poisonous. The bottom part is just kind of crummy and nobody wants that, so you're taking the middle. However, that makes it a press your luck. If you only have 3 cards, you know you're gonna end up with one thing. And if it happens to be a sugar, you can still make a liquor, so you can still make the vodka with the 1 sugar. But if you happen to remove all of the sugars, then you're gonna end up making moonshine. So I like that, in that it's keeping with the theming of taking off the top and the bottom. And I do like press your luck games, so you can mitigate that a little bit by filling it up with, all right, I have 20 sugars here. There's no way I'm not gonna be able to make this. However, I do feel like by buying all those extra sugars to kind of mitigate that, that's another thing that kind of takes away from the economy of the game, so that you don't get to buy all the cool stuff that you want to buy. So I think it hurts the economics during the market phase, and I feel like there aren't enough people like us who like pressure luck games. They're gonna get to that part, and if they get it 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds in a row, and all they're making is moonshine, or all they're making is vodka, they're gonna be like, this game sucks. I never want to play this game again. It's too much luck of the draw. It didn't hurt us too much, but we just got lucky. Hence, luck of the draw, press your luck. But I could see where that could be a downside if you're playing this game. You may not appreciate the second phase when you're doing that and you're not able to make all the spirits that you want to make.
One point of frustration that I had while playing, and it's not really the game's fault, I just wasn't paying well enough attention, was that sometimes whenever you get to the phase and you sell your liquor, you get a little tile for the spirits. And you can use that tile to kind of unlock more things. Those are only limited. So if everyone's making the same liquor, then that's gonna run out. And it always ran out when I made it and they made it before me. And I was just like, oh, well, can't unlock anything now.
The game is played in 7 rounds, and each round you're only allowed to distill once, which means that you have a max of 7 different spirits that you're gonna make. I think that kind of hurts the game by not allowing players to have the option to distill more than once. I know that it's the idea that you're gonna run out of spirit tiles and you had to have limited resources and all that kind of stuff. However, I think if a player is playing, especially later on in the rounds, and they wanna catch up, they should have that press your luck option. You already have it built into the game when you're taking the top and the bottom off. Why not let players press their luck again by, okay, I'm gonna distill once, this one, and now I'm gonna distill again, and let them distill as many times as they want to see whatever they can get depending on what resources you can go after. That way, if someone's really far behind, like in one of the games we were playing, we all had 100 and something and someone only had 60 or whatever. They needed to catch up 50 points. Well, logistically in this game, there's no way that they're gonna be able to catch that up. However, if in the 7th round they had this whole big bag of money, they had all these different resources and ingredients stockpiled, they're like, okay, I'm gonna go for my big move here in the 7th round, I'm gonna distill 5 different times and try to do all these things and try to make some big plays. The game doesn't allow you to do that. So this game limits you from making those big moves.
At the very end, just don't make anything, just 7 moonshines. 10 moonshine.
I mean, that won't give you that many points.
But you could.
You could, yeah. I feel like it's a missed opportunity to allow players to make more. Or like what Lee was saying, oh, I wanted to make this liquor, but I didn't get the spirit titles, which means I don't get the extra bonus on top. However, I have enough ingredients, I can try distilling again. I'll make the good liquor for the points, but I won't get the spirit tile, but then I'll also make the moonshine and I'll get the spirit tile, so I'll get points and I get to do the top row. So I feel like that's missing from the game, the ability to catch up quickly or to make some really big moves.
Overall, I had a ton of fun playing this. I really felt like I was distilling, something fun, I guess. I like the artwork, I like the theming and how they tie it in and you learn everything. Mostly that, I think, is what really I keep coming back to. So I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Overall, I really enjoyed this game. I'm glad that we found it when it was on Kickstarter. I'm glad that we backed it. I'm glad that we got to talk to Dave Beck at Origins. I do think there are some tweaks to the game that could make it even better, so it's not a 10 out of 10 for me because it's missing those little extra things that can make it like, yeah, this is a great game. However, I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna play this game a lot until we get bored with it. I'm probably gonna give this game a 9. And that was our review of Distilled.
What'd you think? Are you ready for a spirited night of gameplay? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
I'm Kenny. I go party like a board gamer.